Guys are crying because of this. Like, they're not only crying, they are wailing. Like, the orange man has literally shocked them to this point. And when I actually saw this video clip, I was asking myself one question. A man that his house is on fire, a man that his roof is leaking, is trying to save his neighbor's roof from leaking. He's trying to save his own neighbor's roof from getting burnt, while his own house is on fire. Like, how do we literally explain this? That I have $2,000 in my hand and I have to settle hospital bill of $1,000. But I stop in settling that and I'm going to my neighbor's house to settle his own hospital bills of $1,950. How do you literally expect that? Explain that to me. Where is the American dream that a lot of them has been shouting and rejoicing about? And I'm so happy that it's magas that are crying more than my own black folks. In today's video, I'll roll out the clip so that you guys can watch this video and tell me your honest reading. I have a lot of things to say at the end of this video. If this is the first time tuning in, subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit belongs to the original creator of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And guys, with that being said, let's dive right into this video. We do not support any form of violence, right? For educational purposes. I'll be back with commentaries.
40 billion. Yeah, you probably heard 20. It's not. It's 40 billion of American tax dollars is going to Argentina, you know, to bail them out for their failed economy. Yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine right now being a parent of a disabled child, being told all your services were cut off, but we're going to take care of those people in Argentina? Can you imagine being a houseless person or a mother of 3 living in her car right now, literally seeing the headline that the American tax dollars of 40 billion is going to fucking Argentina, not to help with a single motherfucking American in America right now. Which I don't know if anyone is in the same boat, but I don't know anybody right now who's not doing a little bit of a with their finances. Because everything fucking costs more money right now. So $40 billion going to Argentina just right out in our face, just so you guys are clear, is literally a big fuck you from the President of the United States. And you know what? Right back at you big fat bitch.
I mean, while the U.S. government is shut down right now, it's one thing to have the president leaving the country and flying to other countries, as Trump did today. It's another thing to have the U.S. government funding another country's government while we are not funding ours. Nevertheless, Trump's Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, just sent $20 billion, just sent 20 billion U.S. taxpayer dollars to go fund the government of Argentina, to go bail out their currency for some reason. Argentina's currency has dropped 27% in value already this year, but we're buying $20 billion worth of it. Why is that? That doesn't seem like a good bet. Don't worry, it's just a loan. Right, think we're going to get that loan back? I don't know. The IMF has had to bail out Argentina 23 different times. Argentina owes the IMF more money than any other country on earth. The most recent IMF bailout was just in April, and even that wasn't enough to keep their economy and their peso from continuing to tank. But apparently now it's us. Scott Bessent, Trump's Treasury Secretary, nevertheless just gave Argentina $20 billion of your money to prop up the government of Argentina, even though we have almost no trade with them. And if their economy or their currency collapses, that would be sad for them, but it would likely have no effect on us. This is not something we're doing to protect ourselves. It is just a favor to them. Trump and Scott Bessent have given them $20 billion US dollars out of the U.S. Treasury, a $20 billion bailout that already appears, quite possibly, to be lost down a deep, dark well. Because even after Trump gave them this $20 billion infusion within the last few days, CNBC reports today that markets today reacted in such a way that indicates that $20 billion might not be enough. Argentina might tank anyway. And that presumably best case means that we'll never get our $20 billion back. Worst case, it means they're going to keep giving them even more money that we'll never get back. Why, when our own government is shut down, are we giving another country $20 billion to keep their government going? When, again, we have no links to their economy, their risk has no connection to risk in our country. Why are we doing that? I don't know. But there are at least two American billionaires who are very close to Trump Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. And these billionaires have made big bets on the health of Argentina's economy. So, you know, I don't know if you had any plans for that $20 billion. It's your money. But for these rich guy friends of Scott Bessent, including Scott Bessent's former mentor on Wall Street, they stand to make a lot of money if the U.S. taxpayer starts propping up that failing country. And they stand to lose a lot if we don't, and that country fails. So there goes $20 billion of your money to buy nearly worthless pesos in Buenos Aires while, you know, Yellowstone shuts down and people who work for the TSA don't get paid and American hospitals are white-knuckling it through day 12 of a government shutdown with no end in sight.
This should really piss off every American right now. President Trump just bailed out Argentina, a foreign country with 20 billion U.S. tax dollars. This is insane. This is a massive bailout. We are in the middle of a government shutdown. They've laid off thousands of federal employees. They have people working in the government not getting paid. And he is giving a foreign country $20 billion of our money? He can just unilaterally make that decision now? I don't know. We'll see what happens here with this. But this is unprecedented. And apparently Argentina, the leader there, President Milei, his party lost a major election and it caused their currency to become totally destabilized. Now, he's been putting in a bunch of policies very similar to what Trump has been doing here. The Trump administration said they needed to do this to stabilize the currency in Argentina and keep this problem from spreading and spilling over into other countries, causing a larger financial global crisis. That's their argument. Do you buy it? I don't know. This looks more like a political favor to a friend of President Trump's rather than something that is in Americans' best interests. So if he can bail out this country, he better get this government open and do it right away. We must demand it. Let me know if you demand it and the Republicans to get back to work in the House and get our government reopened. We can't be bailing out other countries with billions of dollars while Americans are suffering here at home. This is unacceptable and we cannot allow it. Comment, like, share, spread the word, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
I don't gain anything by lying to none of y'all. When I tell y'all this government shutdown on its 15th day of October, when it filters into the month of November, all the benefits that people were looking for and depending on is probably not going to happen. You guys are probably going to get them, but it's probably going to be delayed. Even the military is suffering right now. Government workers is suffering right now. But I'm going to tell you what this means for the U.S. This means crime rates is about to shoot through the roof. Did you guys know that this time of year, the months with the R's in it, September, October, November, December, especially November and December are the most stressful months of the entire year because people are already trying to figure out how they're going to rob Peter to pay Paul until tax time. And they have the government shutdown during the month of October that's leading into the month of November. That's going to be the third month with the R in it. That means we got 2 months left in 2025 with R's in it before we go into the new year. I believe robberies is going to go to an all-time high. I believe people are going to be going into stores, taking stuff off shelves. They don't care if they get busted or not or go to jail or not because they're going to have to choose. Do we starve or do we feed our family? I feel like if this government shutdown is probably going to be one of the worst things that could have possibly happened. You have some people saying the government shutdown is beneficial because people are going to get a stimulus check of $1,705 potentially. But shouldn't people have got a stimulus check from that Doge, from that $50 trillion that was found earlier this year? I don't know. I feel like we didn't need a government shutdown for people to get stimulus checks, but it's a lot going on. I just feel like the crime rate is going to go through the roof, man. You guys let me know what you guys think. Do you believe the crime in your rate, the crime rate in your city is going to skyrocket, or you don't think that it's going to change? Even though this time of year, a lot of bad stuff usually happens. People are robbing and stuff. People are stealing. People doing home invasions. A lot of crazy stuff happens this time of year. But add a government shutdown to this mix. This is not a good concoction at all. You guys let me know what y'all think.
We're listening to this kind of stuff while a young man walked up to the microphone and said that he had to leave here to go and work on DoorDash to help pay for his daughter's tuition. Meanwhile, everybody up here getting paid. But he ain't. This is this kind of stuff right here. That's how you know, and I'm not accusing any of you directly or personally of feeling this way. I'm just talking about the apparatus that is Washington, the nation's capital. This is why you have so many Americans, excuse my language, so pissed off at Washington. Because somehow, some way, you get to have these conversations, engage in specific elements of it to talk about what we need to do to get things better. Our debt is $37.8 trillion. Somehow, some way, the taxpayer's been paying this, been throwing money, because we all look at our check, and it's been going to the government. And somehow, some way, you're supposed to be doing something constructive and productive enough to make sure that we don't have that kind of deficit. It isn't happening. A government shutdown is going on right now. A man has to work on DoorDash when he's really an air traffic controller that we applauded. And we're up here talking about how much some money is going to cost. And the only person that don't have a check coming is him. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a break.
All right. We'll go to the audience.
I love when I see people just keep it real. You know, in the face of all the foolery that's going on and people up there running their mouth, saying all this stuff that they rehearsed with their preppers or whatever. And then Stephen A. just come out there and say, what are we doing? We're in a crazy amount of debt as a nation. Y'all been over our money. If my accountant, I go to him and I say, look, where our money going? I've been out here busting my butt every day when I don't feel like making videos. I'm traveling and speaking and running companies, and we in debt, bruh. You lucky I don't swing on you. You definitely ain't got a job. I'm finna fire you. And our government is the ones doing it. You guys have put us in debt. We've entrusted you with our money. A lot of us could have been doing a lot of things with that them tax dollars that we've been throwing at you, and y'all been dropping the ball. Like, I honestly think that anybody that's associated with debt at the end of their term, they have to cycle out. Y'all don't care if it's your fault or not. Something ain't happening. If you go into a gridlock where the government is shut down for more than 72 hours, everybody got to go. Y'all grown people can't come to an agreement. Y'all got to go. Then you would wonder how many times will there be politicians that gridlock and want to play political games when they all lose their job if they can't come to an agreement. Bro, y'all grown. Y'all not kids. At some point, you got to drop your you know what and put your big boy pants on and put your big boy woman pantsuit on and come to the table and say, look, man, we're not going to make the American people go through this. We need to figure it out. You got 72 hours to figure it out or y'all all gone. And the next person that didn't win the election would be up next to be an interim. But let's go to some more clips because it got juicy on a few levels. Let's go to clip 2 because this was, I believe that Tom Homan was questioned by Cuomo. He also got charged up by Stephen A. Smith, but I think Stephen A. Smith did it in good faith. But Cuomo questioned Tom Homan, and here's his response. Roll the clip.
Look, the masks, it's a bad look, all right?
No,
I understand the security problem with it, but it's a bad look. You make these men and women look like Hamas. And then you don't think people are going to react to them that way. Of course they are. They got their, it's like the stupid movie, Men in Masks Not Be Trusted. That's what you're setting them up for. I get the risk. Color of authority matters also. They should have a badge. You should be able to identify what they are. Nobody should have to guess that they're getting duped and they're not who they say they are. Everybody does it the same way. I get the sensitivity of the security. I'm with you. 2 things that I think are getting stuck up. One, you talk about...
Hold on, before you say that, I'm going to let him finish. But hold on. This is a stupid question. Are we smoking crack or not? They got a uniform on and a tack vest, and they jump out of ICE vehicles, and they identify themselves as ICE, and you illegal. You know who they are. You know who they are. And they got a mask on to protect themselves, but they clearly got ICE on their uniforms. Let them finish.
Enough. Track is the best thing that they have, right? Syracuse University has this open FOIA request. I hear you on shows all the time, Tom. I do not think that you're FOS, okay? I've known you a long time. You can't say I see the data all the time. Great, I don't. Put the data out, because track, you can look it up for yourself, TRAC, it's an acronym through Syracuse University. It's like 50-50. That takes me to the next point, which is you're not cutting fat, you're cutting muscle. And these communities need people who may have entered the wrong way but have done everything right since. And their kids are here, and they're productive, and their employers need them. What?
That's for Congress to do. They got to.
I'm not on. Listen, Tom and I have talked about this. You're an enforcement guy. I'm with you, and Tom makes the right point that they got to fix it. But enforcement priorities matter. Okay?
I'm being transparent tonight. 70% of everybody arrested is a criminal. President Trump said we're going to concentrate on national security threats. That's exactly what we're doing. The data shows it. And like I said, for the hundreds of thousands of criminals that is going to be removed in this administration, it makes that country safe again, keeping President Trump's promise to American people what he was going to do. He said he's going to have the largest deportation operation in history. We're going to have the largest deportation operation in history. You look at numbers right now, I just told you, over 500,000 have been deported between CBP and ICE. And that's not counting the first 4 months of the fiscal year that were under Biden. We're not even counting those months. But if you extrapolate the monthly apprehension we got right now, you do have the biggest operation in the history of the nation. And one of the reasons people don't understand, why do we have the most secure border in the nation's history? Because President Trump's executive orders, his leadership on that, the men and women of the border who stand in that front line and catch and release. And third, because the whole world sees ICE out there every day across this nation enforcing the immigration law, sends a clear message of consequences so families don't spend their life savings handing it to a criminal cartel to make that dangerous journey because they know there's consequences. President Trump's policies, whether people want to face it or not, is saving lives by the thousands. Under Joe Biden, a record number of aliens died making that journey. A record number of Americans died from fentanyl coming across that border. This administration is not only enforcing law and making our streets safe again, they're saving thousands of lives.
In your face. So who can argue with it? Man, this hoodie go hard, though. I ain't gonna even lie. We just sourced this. This is the most comfortable hoodie I've ever had. And they don't have no string on. I told them, get the string off of it. Gosh, dang it. Y'all need to get y'all one of these hoodies, though. This support Charlie. 100% of all the profit go to his family. Get you one. I had to say that. He just brought me this one. Y'all ain't finna find another conservative site that will produce product like this. I'm just saying.
See, I guess that's why I don't get into politics, because I don't really understand this. The United States government just bailed out Argentina's government with a $20 billion lifeline to stop the country from a financial crisis during America's federal government shutdown. Again, I'm not heavy into politics. For the people that are, what sense does this make? Is this some kind of chess move we making right here? Like giving them 20 bills? Or like, I don't get it. Cause in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, maybe they lending them 20 billion. They gonna tax them on the interest. We gonna get back 40 million, 50 million, 50 years from now, maybe. I don't know. But I can't help but think of during America's federal government shutdown, where we have government employees that currently aren't getting paid right now. We have so many people just struggling to buy everyday basic essentials, but they stimulating everybody else outside of the United States. Forget the tax-paying citizens that, you know, is probably a part of this $20 billion. Yeah, definitely is. Like, we didn't sign up for our taxes, the money that we work for, to go to Argentina. But again, I'm not heavy into the politics. I don't understand this. Can somebody enlighten me and enlighten the other people that are just like me that don't understand this?
I have a foolproof plan to end the shutdown, and I absolutely guarantee it is a plan Congress would never have thought of in a million years. If you're interested in learning how America really works, and maybe have a few laughs at the expense of the political class, click the link in our bio and subscribe to America the Possible's newsletter. Okay, my plan is brilliantly simple, if I do say so myself. You probably know that during a shutdown, people who work for the government don't get paid, except, that is, for the people responsible for the shutdown. Senators and congressmen, they continue to get paychecks while the other 2.9 million government employees suffer. The economy goes to hell, and it costs us real money. Here's my plan. Stop paying them. Cut them off. Maybe even fine them for each day the shutdown goes on. And you'd be surprised how quickly they'd scurry back from their not so well earned vacations and end the BS. Mr. President, sir, if you're listening, think about it. We know you're into issuing executive orders, and, well, this could be the one executive order that the whole country could agree with.
No, guys, it's real. They really are that dumb. I have a proposal for the Democratic Party. How do I know he talks like that? Let's be honest, we both know he talks like that. Instead of free healthcare for illegal immigrants, how about free healthcare for the American people? Oh my god. Yeah, we tried that. Bud, we've been trying that for years, decades. At this point, Democratic lawmakers and presidents have been trying to push for universal health care for decades. Do you know who consistently turns it down? Because they say it's not worth it. They say that people don't deserve health care. They say that people deserve to die if they can't afford health care. Yeah, it's Republicans. It is consistently the Republican Party, Republican senators, Republican representatives, and Republican presidents who are opposed to universal health care. I remember when Obama was pushing for his health care bill, multiple Republicans in the Senate literally pushed for him to be impeached, saying that free or universal health care was literally unconstitutional. So are you actually saying you agree with us and that universal health care is actually a human right? Because I got some news for you that would not make you a Republican.
Today marks 2 weeks of this government shutdown, and neither the Republicans nor the Democrats are changing their position or even attempting to reopen it. But we are also about 2 weeks away from another deadline that, in theory, may force the two sides to reach a deal. Not because that's how it's supposed to work, but because it could be a political disaster in the midterms if they don't. So I'm going to explain what that one thing is in a second. Just wait for it. There's a twist. But first, I want to thank my paid Facts HQ subscribers for overwhelmingly voting for this story as the bonus this week. If you want to vote on next week's bonus story, or you want to get access to other perks from me, make sure you follow these easy steps and you become a paid subscriber too. It's important for you to know that without the support of my paid subscribers, my channel would disappear. Literally, I would not be able to bring you the news every day if it weren't for them. So if you want to help me continue to do this work, please consider becoming a paid subscriber. Okay, so by now, you know this government shutdown is largely happening because of this fight over the Affordable Care Act healthcare premium subsidies. Those are set to expire at the end of this year, unless Congress passes a new law to extend them. If those subsidies actually do expire, as I've been reporting since the summer, healthcare costs for more than 24 million Americans will skyrocket. Democrats want Republicans to agree to a permanent extension of those subsidies. Republicans are split. A large percentage of them say absolutely not. Those subsidies are way too expensive for the U.S. government. We don't have that kind of money, and they want those subsidies to go away. And then there's another percentage of Republicans that say, we've got time on this. We may be willing to negotiate on these ACA subsidies, but only after the Democrats agree to reopen the government. Well, the problem is, there's not a lot of time left because on November 1st, just about 2 weeks from now, open enrollment starts for everyone who wants to get health insurance next year through the ACA. And if the law doesn't change, like now, millions of Americans are going to be hit with a sticker shock that they are not prepared for. And they may end up being forced to cancel their health insurance altogether because they just can't afford it. But here's where the twist comes in. While a large percentage of Republicans want these subsidies, and maybe even the entire ACA, to go away, it turns out, according to the Kaiser Family Foundation, that may be a political problem for them because 80% of all of those premium ACA subsidies are going to states that were won by President Trump in 2024. 80%! That translates to nearly 19 million people who are getting $115 billion in government subsidies and also happen to be Republican voters. Now, I got another one for you. The Kaiser Family Foundation also found the only 2 states that have ACA recipients receiving on average more than $1,000 a month in ACA subsidies are West Virginia and Alaska, both ruby red states. Oh, and the state that receives the most money altogether for these premium ACA subsidies is Florida, which is also a state that Trump won in 2024. They get more than $31.7 billion a year in ACA subsidies. Now, to be clear, these subsidies are the enhanced subsidies that were approved by Congress in 2021 and are given to qualifying low and middle income people who do not receive health insurance through their employer or through any other government program. These are small business owners, their employees, farmers, ranchers, and those who are self-employed. And no, by law, immigrants who are in this country illegally do not even qualify for ACA coverage and certainly do not qualify for these particular enhanced subsidies that I'm talking about. Of course, red states are not the only states with ACA participants who get this premium subsidy. Recipients who qualify for the subsidy live in every single state. You can see here on this map, every single state gets this subsidy. But the darker the blue, that means the more subsidy is awarded per ACA recipient. So those are the facts and the numbers. Now let's put our political hats on and think about this for just a second. Traditionally, Republicans hate the ACA, which is the same thing as Obamacare, in case you're wondering. Remember, Trump made it his whole campaign slogan when he first ran for president back in 2015. Back then, he was all about repeal and replace. Well, the ACA was never repealed and it was never replaced because even with all its flaws, it's extremely popular. And so are these subsidies. So now, politically, Republicans have to make a choice. Either they can negotiate these subsidies with Democrats, get the government back open, and help their own constituents, who we just established are the vast majority of the people who benefit from these particular ACA subsidies, or they can stick to this current position, not negotiate with Democrats on these subsidies, and the government's going to stay shut down, and millions of their own voters will be slammed with skyrocketing healthcare costs, which means millions of them will likely have to cancel their health insurance next year. Now, whatever decision they make will likely have an impact on this upcoming midterm election. So if you want to see this Kaiser family map, or you want to see how much money states are receiving for these ACA subsidies, I'm going to email all that out to you in tonight's Facts HQ email. So make sure you sign yourself up. It's free.
Here's Joe from Georgia. So there's new polling coming out about who the American public is blaming for the current shutdown in America. Now, it's been 2 weeks that the government is shut down. And we're getting ready to go into, of course, the third week. Well, the polling is showing that Americans who are paying attention and who know about the government shutdown, 49% of those people are saying that this lays right on the Republicans. Now, that's the October 14th polling, by the way. Only 30% of those polled thought it was the Democrats. So the Republicans are underwater by 17 points on who the American public is blaming for the shutdown, which is causing chaos in a lot of departments that work in the government. As we know, we've seen delays in airports. People are at work not getting paid. Those things are a problem. People take their eye off the ball. So America, they're blaming Donald Trump for the shutdown. So I'm assuming that the Republicans might need to come up with a plan to get the government open.
We are on day 15 of the government shutdown. Donald Trump must be, working with Congress to develop a plan to get the government back open, right? Wrong. He's actually meeting with the Argentinian president so they can have a $20 billion bailout of their country. Oh, who's it going to pay for it? Us. Yeah. The American people, taxpayers. Yes, we'll be paying for it. Well, then certainly the vice president is doing something like to concoct a plan so the government can be reopened, right? And like we can get everything back to work. No, actually he's busy defending the racist Republican group chats that were unearthed. So no one's doing anything.
Y'all, in another episode of As the White Hood Turns, economists and business leaders are saying that America is slowly going broke. Now, I disagree with the slow part. I don't think it's slow at all. But, I didn't go to school for none of that. Anywho, apparently, we are currently $37.8 trillion in debt, with $1.2 trillion in interest payments that are due. And y'all, motherfuckers, who don't know your ass from your elbow, elected the con man who has bankrupted every business he has ever had. Now, I don't look, I got a couple degrees, but that motherfucker bankrupted casinos. Okay. Now they're saying that the revenues that they're getting from tariffs ain't tariffing the way he said it was going to tariff and all the money it was going to bring in. Because it's not. It absolutely is not bringing in what he said it was going to bring in. So now they're saying that between the stagflation, we're going into another recession. Unemployment is sky high. So therefore, there's less consumer spending. We're coming into the holiday season. People ain't trying to buy nothing. Why? Because they ain't got no money. All them people that voted for him because there was not supposed to be any more tax on tips. They didn't read the fine print about what part of that wasn't going to get taxed. Hello. I just want y'all, and you know who y'all are, step to the front and own this shit. Now, again, I'm not an economist, but I did sleep in a Holiday Inn Express once. So I have a cursory understanding of what this means. Again, America, you in danger, girl. I suggest you start putting some shit on layaway. Hello. Okay, bye.
12 days into the government shutdown, J.D. Vance said things are going to get more painful. This comes as we have hundreds of thousands of federal employees furloughed, about 1.25 million more that are still working without pay, and this week, WIC runs out of funding. The Smithsonian announced they were shuttering museums this week, their research department and the National Zoo, due to a lack of funding, and we have a number of other things on the docket this week and into next week that are going to lose funding, even as they've shuffled money around so that they can continue to pay the military because they realize that's not a good idea to not pay them. Well, they're still not paying federal employees, even though they're forcing the majority of them to still show up at work, so the average everyday American doesn't feel pain from it and doesn't turn on Republicans, even as the polls continue to show Republicans are underwater by 17 points. The American citizens are blaming Republicans for the government shutdown because they control all 3 houses. So when J.D. Vance goes on national TV and says, hey, Democrats need to solve this, what does he want them to solve? When Republicans control the White House, the House of Representatives, and the Senate, they control all 3 branches of government that can solve this whole funding issue. In fact, funding is a legislative issue, and Republicans have failed to legislate. They've failed to govern. They've played culture war politics and optic politics. If it looks good for the camera, that's all they worry about. And American citizens are paying for that. We are once again going to have children hungry in the streets because Republicans refuse to do their damn job. And Mike Johnson just recessed the House on Friday for all of this upcoming week. So they won't even be back at work until maybe the 20th of October, which will give them a full month. And in fact, they've only worked 15 days, if I remember right, since they came back from 4th of July recess. So who's not working and getting paid? Congressional representatives, Republicans in particular. They're being told to sit at home and do nothing and tell the Democrats that they need to fix it when the Democrats don't have the power to do so.
I hope we understand now that this is the end of the beginning, okay? And when I say this, I told y'all when they did this shutdown, I told you that this wasn't going to be your normal shutdown. And I knew that because in the spirit realm, you can see what was already being activated. The AC spirit has already been activated. They are paving the way, not only for the control of it, but the system of it. They are literally preparing it. And that's why all of these things are taking place. 48 million people will not receive food stamps this coming November. And they're saying SNAP benefit, no link, and other things that helps everyday people who honestly don't have the finances or the means for their families. There are so many people who have lost their jobs during this government shutdown. There's so many transitions economically that is going on in this world that people are facing a lot of financial hardships. Now, the principal stated he did a recent conference, and he stated that they were going to dismantle all of the Democratic programs, and he's going to do it permanently. And, a lot of people feel different ways about that. But let's be honest, there are some people who depend on these governmental systems to live, literally. Now, what they're saying is they made it illegal if your state want to give you food stamps or any of these benefits. They made it illegal under the Anti-Efficiency Act, okay? And they're saying that it is against the law, basically. So when we talk about what we see that is happening economically and with this shutdown, it is all leaning towards the AC system, okay? And the AC system is now getting ready. We're literally getting ready to walk this out. The peace agreement, they've already started. It's not completed. They only have done the first half. But as we see, the AC spirit is being indoctrinated in economically, spiritually, physically, with the control and things of that nature. There's a dismantling that is happening. And it don't take much to see what is literally going on and what is happening. Not only that, AI has severely increased. Over the last month or two, it is being pushed in our faces. I've seen something where Walmart is now incorporating AI indefinitely. And then I just seen where one of these major producers, I can't think of who it is off the top of my head, he just released one of his AI artist video, and it was boring. I got very bored. Timberland's artist Tata, I think that's her name, very boring. Didn't like the AI situation. But as we see now, AI is it is literally becoming huge. It is a thing. So it's not hard to see how there is a shift, and the shift is the AC system and the AC spirit that is in the land. I'm telling y'all, they are trying to literally, slowly but surely, bring it in and indoctrinate the communities, indoctrinate the economic. This is what we see. It is literally the end of the beginning. It's already here. Those of us who are in God and have the Holy Spirit has already showed you and has been showing you for a while. God has been speaking to us, and he's been speaking to us through the earth. We see signs. We see all of these things that is literally showing us and telling us that, number one, judgment is coming for all of these things, but not just judgment. God is showing us signs that we are here in the end of the end times. I urge you to pray for godly wisdom on how to move forward, that God will give us wisdom on how to prepare for what is coming, because there is a preparation that must happen. We see that we are here. We don't know how much longer the government will be shut down. We don't know. So we must prepare for all things. These services, all of the things that people are used to living off of, they're getting rid of it. So that means that there is certain things that are going to take place. I have to leave it at that. So we have to be wise. We have to pray for discernment. We must pray for wisdom, that God would show us how to prepare for what is ahead of us, because what's ahead of us is very great. And so we need the Spirit of God. We need the discernment of God, so we will know, so we can be on guard. We are watching for the return of Christ, but we must be on guard. Our spirits must be on guard for what's getting ready to be implemented in this world. And if this is the first time you've listened to me, My thing to you, if you don't know Jesus, this is a great opportunity for you to repent and come into the knowledge of God before it's too late. Because you do not want to spend your eternity in life with goblins and goblins. Because I'm not doing it. Come to Jesus, repent, give your whole heart, your whole life over to the Lord. And those of us who are in Christ, we must be on alert. This is a time of prayer, a time of fasting, because we have to hear from God like we've never heard before. This stuff is serious. Like, on top of the peace agreement happening, you got all this going on. Y'all can't tell me 1 + 1 is 2. Ain't 2. 1 + 1. At this point, 1 + 1, 2 + 2. We're adding it up. It's here. We ain't shockery no more. No, Jesus. We need him like we've never needed him before. He's speaking to us. And we must understand that these are the times that God speaks of in all of the prophetic books. Daniel, Matthew, Revelation. So we must adhere to the Spirit of God and do not be deceived.
Anyways, welcome back, guys, and that's all the clips that I have for you guys. And you guys can literally see that with the way this man is actually going, the American dreams that every single person has ever wished for is crashing down. It has already crashed down, right? A lot of Americans have been able to say it and be able to explain that they no longer have what is tagged American dream. It is just the beautiful view for the orange man. That is what is circulating. But like, let's break this down and let's understand ourselves. So literally, like I said from the beginning of this video, let's assume that my house is on fire and I am supposed to go call fire service to come put off the lights. But I did not call them and I went ahead to be saving my neighbor's house that is on fire. On these two scenarios, who is more foolish and who is more wise? Because I don't understand, as at this point where a lot of people are crying for healthcare, a lot of people are crying for they are not being able to feed, a lot of people are crying for major things that at the end of the day, the orange man is supposed to be looking into and knowing how he can actually sort them out. If he's bringing down tariff, if he's trying to see how people can start doing their more of importation and exportation businesses, in looking into his farmers that are wailing, screaming every single day in pains. But this man literally do not do that. He sent 40 billion. 40 billion to support Argentina, to support their economy that is crashing. So is your own economy that stable? You are supporting another country's economy. Is your own economy stable? So I don't understand. So you guys have this amount of money with you, and you cannot even hear the cries, the tears of these people, even if you don't want to even listen to Black people like me, because I already know that you do not really vibe with them. It's clear. Nobody is even saying that he's going to hide something or that. But can't you listen to the people's voices that voted you in, that made you who you are? Can't you listen to their voices? He's not even talking about how this government shutdown can actually be resolved and so on and so forth. The only thing is helping a friend, helping in another country, helping a neighboring country so that their economy can be stable. It's sad. It's quite sad. And I will still say it. I'm happy because magas are the one crying. I'm happy because these magas literally use their hand to enforce whatsoever is happening. I'm happy because these magas were told, they were warned, they were informed. But no, they never listen. That is why a lot of them are now coming up online to start crying and be like, oh, we did not know, we're not well educated about it, we don't even know what is really happening to us. Now that we are now finding out, this is finding out the hard way. This is finding out the wrong way. Because a lot of you guys as magas have it at the back of your mind that, according to some news that I've actually read, food stamp availability for the month of November is going to be terrible. Now, one thing I'm not really sad about is because I know that most of my Black folks have never relied on welfare. They have never relied on food stamps. I'm not saying that black folks do not. Yes, 10 to 20%, but for the most, they can survive. So every single time that we think that this is actually going to move forward, things is actually going to be better, we are now seeing the future, we are being dragged backward. And don't ask me and tell me, why are you saying we? I'm saying we, and I will still keep saying it, that every single thing that is affecting US is affecting every single country out there. I don't know if there are countries that are not being affected, but for my own country, Nigeria, is also being affected. And that is why it pains me that the American we look forward to, the American dreams we've all been subscribing to, is now getting vanished just on a platter of gold, where we know that these people literally have every single capacity to make things work out. But no, they will not, because they want the masses to suffer. Anyways, let me know what you think about this video. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And this is just for educational purposes. I stand a chance to be corrected. Feel free to correct me in the comment section, because I love us to interact more in the comment section. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. And yes, with no further ado, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.